This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider.
London's parks have become a central meeting place for life in lockdown. In March, they transformed into outdoor gyms as people looked for somewhere to get their 1 hour of government-mandated exercise each day. But as restrictions eased and the sun came out, in the city's outdoor spaces, there's barely been a lockdown at all. And with the new festival vibes have come a string of problems for local councils trying to keep up with the housekeeping. Hackney's Mayor Philip Glanville joins me now. Philip, how have the scenes in parks changed compared with last summer?
I think what's changed is the quantum of people. We've been really pleased as a borough to have kept all our parks open throughout the different phases of lockdown, and that was primarily to obviously provide places for people to exercise around social distancing at the start. And I think what has happened since is we've seen a steady reopening of the local economy, including premises that are selling alcohol, but also food, and nowhere, because premises aren't allowed to have anybody on them, nowhere for that economy to kind of eat and drink. So our nighttime economy, and where you've got the densest population and the densest quantum of licensed premises, you're seeing some of the scenes that we saw over the weekend in London Fields, but that has also happened on previous hot weekends a couple of weeks ago. So the real challenge for us is preserving those spaces for everyone, when now they're being used as effectively an adjunct to what was obviously a very vibrant nighttime economy in the borough.
So when you say the scenes that were at London Fields over the weekend, can you just describe what that looked like?
I think a DJ set themselves up in the middle of the park, and you had effectively almost a dance event, an event where people were dancing to the music, drinking till well after, the park can't close because it's common land. So some of our parks are obviously lockable, but this is a park that is open 24/7, and people were staying as if it was sort of a back to a field day or wireless type festival. And I think if you live nearby, really challenging. If you want to just walk your dog or take your kids to the park, really challenging. And scenes that the park is not designed to cope with. And I don't think scenes that local residents should have to put up with.
And obviously public toilets and litter have sort of been the reoccurring issues. What is Hackney doing to address this?
In London Fields anyway, there is a summer litter and rubbish plan. We've activated that about a month earlier, so that is extra big bins. They're now in place across Hackney parks, not just London Fields. So Clissold, Hackney Downs now have that in place. There's also an enhanced level of cleansing and litter collections, but we're seeing tons and tons more waste than we would normally see at this point last year. We reopened our toilets. I think we're one of the few London boroughs to have our parks toilets open. And that's something we decided to do on balance, because there was a greater risk of the kind of public urination than there was around any spread of COVID-19. We've got enhanced cleaning in place there. So we've rolled out, I think, 80 new bigger bins across the borough, reopened our toilets. The toilets are being cleansed 6 times a day. All of that is coming at considerable expense. And while we've also done enhanced the enforcement with the police and our enforcement team, over 300 FPNs issued in the last couple of weeks, so fixed penalty notices for public urination and antisocial behaviour, even with the toilets open. That most of those FPMs were issued after the toilets were open. And I think people have been saying, well, why don't you put even more resource into managing that? So even more bins, temporary urinals and all of those things. That comes at a cost to the local taxpayer at a time when we face a £71 million shortfall in our funding this year. And it is enabling activities that are having a really disproportionate impact in terms of noise, littering and urination. So we may be able to make a marginal impact by adding more bins. But actually, that is not what a park is for, to be a open festival for all of the summer months, while appreciating absolutely that people are sort of frustrated with lockdown. But that is not what the park is designed there to do. And all of us have to recognise that we're in exceptional times and we might not all be able to do whatever we want whenever we want.
Do you think that the government should be stepping in at all?
I think the government has sent really unhelpful signals about the reopening of the economy. And we know that some of the licensed premises would like to be able to open their toilets to the users of those licensed premises, so part users essentially. The current advice allows people to do almost unlimited off-site sales of alcohol and food, but doesn't allow them to open their toilets because of COVID risk. Now that is having an impact in Hackney, but it's having an impact much more broadly than that. And I think the government have to reflect on whether it's right to keep on opening parts of the economy and putting that more into the public realm. So big queues you've seen today with the reopening of shops, all of those queues are now interacting in the public realm all over Britain. And they don't self-regulate necessarily, and they're causing real disquiet for people that need to use our streets to get about and get essential supplies still. And while the shielding regulations may have changed, a huge number of people are incredibly nervous still about being outside. And I just understand that. And my message to all park users in Hackney has been, our park service have been out there since the start of this crisis, working outside, keeping those parks open and clean. And it doesn't take much to use them with respect.
Search for the Leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.